that's a video about templates. And in the previous video I started making a tutorial on templates, but then I kind of went down into existential discussions with myself, so I decided to make it a separate video, and now I finally get to actually record a video on templates. So we had already a few videos about forms, and in the forms we used actually templates in order to display forms. And in this video I will try to go more into details on templates, and we will still start from the basics. So templates, where do we store them? What are templates? Well, templates are HTML files where we can pass some data and display it, basically. And then we can render these templates as a HTML code with particular data that we pass. So usually we save templates in the folder name templates in one of our applications. For example, I'm working in this administration application, so here I create a folder templates, and we can create these templates inside this folder, but we can also, for example, create one more folder if we have different types of templates, something like that, so we should structure them. So for example, study templates, let's create this folder inside this templates folder. It's easier to store folders, so it's easier to have this templates folder, because when we actually render our templates, we will need to specify the path to our templates, and the default render function will search in this folder for our templates. So for example, if we have templates in templates, study templates, I don't know, some initial HTML, and if you want to render this, we need to specify study templates initial HTML. So as you can see, we don't specify a templates folder here because it's done by default by Django. And we can actually say hello here, for example. And now, as you can see, this is the most basic way to display the templates. We just use this render function from Django shortcuts functions. We say render, we pass the request from our view, and then we specify the path to a template. And if we open the page, create student, we can see here now our hello. And as I said, this is a HTML file, so we can, for example, use some HTML tags like B to make bold text here. We can also pass dictionary inside dictionary, pass the dictionary. So for example, here in the name we pass first name John, and then second name Doe, for example. And now in initial we can actually so usually in Python, for example, we would access the keys of our dictionary like this, first name, but here it doesn't work because in our template language we need to specify the keys using the dot, so name dot first name. And the same we can do with the second name. We can also specify some text here, for example, if text. And in order to do that, we say here if, for example, if we have name like this, then we print out this stuff. And then we specify and if, and we still have here our hello John Doe, because we actually have a name. But if we specify here not name but names, then we will not have name and we will not display anything. So this is how this if tag works. We can also specify for tag, for example, for object in name, hello object, and for so as you can see, we have here just dictionary keys. But if, for example, we iterate for list, so if we have not dictionary here as a name, but list of John string and Doe string, then we actually will see hello John, hello Doe. We can also say, for example, hello before, and then iterate through this name for the list. But the other thing that I wanted to show you is that we have a particular stuff called filters. So we have particular stuff called filters. So for example, if we specify name as John Doe like this, and then when we actually render it, we can specify using filter title, and then our letters, our first letters of each word will be capital, but we need to specify it like this, and you can see that now we capitalized the first letters of our words here. The other thing that I wanted to discuss with you is settings for templates. So we can go here into settings, and we can see that we already have some settings here with default Django backend, and we have some options here. Here we have a context processors option, which is specified by default by Django. So this is a list of dotted Python paths to callables that are used to populate the context when a template is rendered with a request. And we can have some other options here except this default one. For example, we can specify auto escape option, which is the Boolean value. This Boolean value controls whether HTML auto escaping is enabled, and by default it's true. So we can, for example, specify false here. We can specify the debug option. This is also a Boolean value that turns on or off the template debug mode. By default, this is it defaults to a value of debug setting. So here we have debug true, and then this will be true. So if we want to have, for example, debug for our Django true, but here we want debug false, so we need to specify it by ourselves. And if it's true, the fancy error page will display a detailed report for any exception raised during template rendering. Then we can specify loaders with a list of dotted Python paths to template loader classes, so the same as context processors. We can specify here some paths to loaders if we have some. We also can have string if invalid. This is the output as a string that the template system should use for invalid variables. It defaults to the empty string, but we can specify some other stuff here also. We can specify option as file char set, and this is a char set used to read template files on disk. It defaults to UTF-8, but we can use other file char sets if we want to. And the other option is built-ins, and it's also a list of dotted Python paths of template tag modules to add to built-ins. So if we have something, we can specify it using a list, for example, some administration built-ins, something like that. So these are the options that we can specify for templates. And also these are so this means that if it's true, then Django Templates engine will look for templates in the templates subdirectory, and we can also specify some other directories here, but we by default have empty value here. And the other stuff that I wanted to show you is that you can actually have another backend for template. So here we can say backend and specify a path to another backend. For example, there is other popular template backend called, I'm not sure how to read it, so I will just specify it like this, Django. So path to, if you actually install it, you will be able to specify it like Django template backends, and you can also specify the directories. For that you will use, I don't know, something like home HTML, so something like that. And basically if you install this stuff, you will be able to use another backend for templates. So this is kind of everything that I wanted to show you about templates, and I hope this lesson was useful. And as usual, I will ask you to please give a like to this video to support me, post a comment what you think about this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and I will see you in the next video.